Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. Here is your daily forecast for the day of Friday, June 15th, 2018. Now, first of all, just want to say, excuse the hair, it was a little wild today, so I figured I would put on my leopard and play the part. Second of all, my new moon in Gemini webinar is available if you would like to see it. It's only $3 for my birthday. Thought I would do that. If you want to download my webinar, see what I have to say about this new moon, especially if it was a little bit challenging and a little bit intense for you, the link is down below in my description box. For those of you who already purchased it, sorry for the delay, but you should have received an email from me already with the link to the recording for you to watch. Now for your horoscope, what we have today is the moon hanging out right here in Cancer. When the moon's in Cancer, of course, it brings our attention to our feelings, what we're feeling, what's going on inside us, maybe private matters that we don't really show everyone else. Getting right with ourselves on the inside. Also, home and family is very important to Cancer. That could be kind of what's on our mind when the moon is here. Now at midnight, so at the very end of yesterday and into today, this moon in Cancer was in a trine with Jupiter. I do like that. I tend to think a little bit more positively of trines, and because I do like Jupiter. So what that could have done maybe is helped you to make sense of your life lately, to understand your life, what you're feeling, how you can feel better about what's going on. So I do see that being very positive. Jupiter and Scorpio as well, Scorpio being the sign of change, could perhaps have brought up more changes that maybe you needed to make to your life in order to feel better, more changes maybe you needed to make emotionally, to how you process life emotionally as well before you could move on, okay? So I do like that a lot. As to where there may have been some difficult things yesterday, I think what was it, yesterday morning, I do like this alignment a lot, really helping us to hopefully make sense of our feelings, get a better handle on them, change our emotional responses and reactions to things, perhaps, so that we can settle in to our life and feel more comfortable with what's going on, while acknowledging, right, our emotions. Okay, so that's happening at midnight. Then 3 hours later at 3 a.m. Mountain Time, the moon moves further through Cancer and comes into a trine with Neptune. All right, this is a grand water trine. We did have, Venus here not too long ago, making this a really pretty aspect here with all of these water signs. And I think the trine to Neptune at 3 a.m. will help you to, again, get more insights on what you need to feel more comfortable in life, to feel more whole, to feel more at peace, to overcome the past. With Jupiter involved, to understand what you need to do to feel better, to overcome the past, to get right with yourself emotionally. All right, so I do see this being a very positive thing very early this morning, helping you to adjust your emotional responses in a very positive way to help you understand your life, feel better about it, pay attention to your emotions, okay? Yeah. I do think it will be a good thing. It could bring up some intense emotions, but if it does, I think it's going to be to kind of smooth out the rough edges. All right, so I do like that very early this morning at 3 a.m. Mountain Time. The challenging aspect, however, does come in a few hours later, and that's going to happen, 6 hours later at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, and that's when the moon is going to move a little bit further through Cancer, and as you see it right here in this chart at 20 degrees, I guess it's going to happen, 8? Oh, this is for Pacific time. I forget. I've got my chart programmed for San Francisco, but I have 9 a.m. Mountain Time. What's going to happen is that the moon is then going to come into an opposition here with Pluto, as you can see in this chart. And what that could definitely bring, after maybe you had some peace this morning, or after maybe you felt better, understood your emotions at the morning time, what this brings up is 9 a.m. or perhaps some intense emotions, some strong emotions. Again, it could throw the emotional balance that you had earlier a little bit off. That's because Pluto here in Capricorn has some very strong feelings, some big fears, maybe some insecurities here about your reputation, about where your life is going, about your career, the direction everything's moving in. Okay, and it could be a little bit hard for you to feel comfortable in life. And what Cancer wants, especially the moon being at home in Cancer, could be hard for you to nurture yourself, to feel the way that you want to feel when you know, wait a second, I've got all of these things weighing on me that I need to do to put my life in the right direction, to feel better about it. that could be a little bit hard. And I think, again, at this time, really needing to find the emotional balance between what you have to do or what you're worried about doing and what you need at this time to feel comfortable, okay? Again, needing to take care of some responsibilities, needing to pay attention to some of your feelings, especially if they're very intense and scary, but just making sure that they don't, get the best of you and that they don't throw your whole day off. All right. I think that'll be very important. Sometimes as well with oppositions, because balance is a thing, choices. Maybe that's why the choices are important. You got to do one side of the opposition and then do the other until you cultivate both and then get them just right. All right, so that can be what's coming up here at 9 a.m. I think early in the morning, we start to feel better about life. We're like, okay, with this water trine, I get it. I get what I need emotionally. I have a moment to myself to process. And then maybe once you get that clarity, once you feel good emotionally, once the moon opposes Pluto, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. I have things I need to do. I have other things that I just momentarily weren't the top of mind. And maybe that's when the fears start coming back, is when all of a sudden you remember, wait a second, there are things I need to do. I can't just pay attention to my feelings all the time. I've got to work on other things. And I think really needing to sustain, hopefully, some of those emotional insights, some of that emotional piece that came up earlier in the day, sustain that throughout the whole day, even if you start to realize you do have some responsibilities or things that you need to take care of. All right, so I think that's what's going on there. Another thing that can happen with this opposition with Pluto, if it's not emotional balance, or if the emotional balance is very hard to find, even if you're trying, Pluto as well may require a change in how you think about your life, how you think about where your life is going, what you want from life as well may be necessary in order for you to find the comfort that you want and need. With all of these planets now moving through this side of the zodiac, especially through Cancer, Mercury is going to be in this opposition to Pluto in the next few weeks. The sun as well is going to be there. The solar eclipse, more importantly, is going to be in this opposition to Pluto almost exactly a month from today. So with all these planets moving through Cancer, I think the idea is not to work, worry about where your life is going. It's really time to be like, okay, what is going on with you emotionally? How can you get comfortable with what's happening? How can you change other things in your life, which will be a thing that you'll hear me talk about more and more over the next few weeks. How can you change other things in your life, where you thought your life was going? How you feel about where your life is going, so that you can start to just get more comfortable inside. All right. I think that's a need. Hopefully the work has been done with a bunch of planets crossing Pluto at the beginning of the year. Hopefully the work has been done to put your life in a place that is better. You may not be entirely happy with where your life is going at the moment, but I think the idea here is to try to find ways to change where you thought your life was going, or to change your emotional responses so that you can start to feel better about everything that has occurred, okay? And to get more comfortable with it all. All right, and that's really all that's going on today. So after 9 a.m. Mountain Time, we have a void moon until 1 a.m. This is like a legit void moon, because the next aspect that it's going to make is when it's going to change signs. And at 1 a.m. tomorrow, the moon is then going to enter Leo, which again is going to be a lot less emotional perhaps than we've been, even though Mercury is still going to be there being emotional. But once the moon enters Leo early tomorrow morning, it'll be less about us being emotional, thinking about our emotions, processing our emotions, thinking about private matters, and more about us trying to figure out, how do we be happy again? How do we be out and about? Be a little bit more lighthearted, have a little bit more fun, with Leo being a very playful sign. All right, that comes in tomorrow very early in the morning. Now, even though this moon very early in the morning is going to be in a very playful sign of Leo, generally very happy, it is going to be making some very, very hard aspects. And that's because at 3 a.m. tomorrow, the moon will then square Uranus, and then 2 hours later, it will then trine Chiron, right as it comes on top of Venus. Okay, which could definitely bring up very early tomorrow some unexpected things in regards to your money, in regards to your confidence and your talents and relationships. Okay, Could bring up some unexpected things that, again, with the trine to Chiron, may not feel too good, may prevent you from doing some of the things that it is that you want because you have to take care of these unexpected matters. Or could be you trying to break free, do something unusual, which then takes you out of your comfort zone, then is a little bit hard. All right, so there could be some difficult things, even though the moon wants to be happy in Leo. Tomorrow could bring up very early on some difficult things before the good stuff. Hopefully, do I want to say good stuff? But before it gets a little bit better later in the day, when the moon crosses the north node. All right, so that's what's going on today and a little bit into tomorrow. I think it really is definitely all about finding that emotional balance a lot today. I know we have some big worries, some big fears about where our life is going, about whether or not our life's going in the right place, about whether or not we really like where our life is going. But I think really needing to figure out how you can get more comfortable in life, or what it is that you need to change, could be in your perspective, could be changing outwardly in order to get the comfort that you need so you can move forward feeling a little bit more whole and well-rounded. All right, so that's what I'll leave you with there. And to not lose a sense of emotional peace that you find early on if something else comes up during the day that evokes some strong emotions. Now, other things I want to mention. I did just mention this a little bit with the moon. The moon's going to be here at the very end of today into tomorrow, but Venus is now in Leo, making a square to Uranus and a trine to Chiron. That could definitely bring up unexpected things in relationships, unexpected things in money that may not feel the best, may prevent you from doing some of the things that you want, may make it hard for you to do things, that a lot of that can just come in. So just be careful of that if anything does come up. I do think, again, it will find a positive resolution or some kind of peaceful resolution, not this week, but soon, as Venus moves closer and closer to the North Node, but we're not there yet. There could be some things that are very disruptive, or maybe you yourself want to break free from old financial situations, from old relationships in order to move forward as well. But just needing to be patient if anything unexpected occurs, to not let it spiral out of hand, or to let your emotions spiral out of hand, especially today when the moon opposes Pluto, if anything does come up. But needing to just sit with it and to be patient, because there is some wisdom that can come out of it. There are some good things that can come as a result of some upsets that may happen this week, I think, with Venus about to come over the North Node. Other things going on, Mercury too, getting closer and closer to an opposition with Saturn, about a degree away in this chart. Also bringing perhaps some serious conversations that you may need to have, if not with other people, then with yourself, thinking very seriously, perhaps, or some choices that you may need to make, again, about where your life is going and about what you need to feel comfortable in your life at this time. Perhaps there's some unexpected things that come up that you weren't planning on, that are a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe needing to think more long-term about what's going on, and to make some decisions about what to do, about what not to do, so that you can minimize the damage and bring more of that emotional comfort that you need, more of that stability back into your life. Hopefully the opposition Mercury will make to Saturn will be a good thing. Hopefully the opposition Mercury, I'm hoping that will really help us to come back home to ourselves. With Mercury in Cancer, the sign of home. Hopefully that opposition will really help us to do that and to focus more on things that we haven't been focusing on in a long time. Especially that's what a lot of this new moon was all about in Gemini. Okay? So it doesn't have to be negative, even though some unexpected things could come up that may not be too pleasant. But I think if you sit with that, if you don't let your fears overtake you, and if you think seriously, if you think responsibly, and maybe make some decisions or choices that you need based on a long-term plan or vision instead of the short-term gain, I think you might be better off with this kind of alignment. Yeah, I know. I think a lot of it is just figuring out how to approach life emotionally, how to get the right perspective, and needing to just make sure that you're choosing the points of view, you're choosing the emotional responses, you're choosing to think in ways that are positive for your growth and not are going to have you spiral downward. Okay. So we've got that there. The other things I'll mention, Mars in the South Node still, it's going to be there for a while. You're going to hear me talking about that for a few months. Mars is stationing, about to go retrograde. So again, frustrations, wanting to do things, it being hard to do things, to act in the way you want. Again, needing to not get too frustrated if you feel like things aren't going to plan, if things are going a little awry, if things aren't happening in the way that you want. All right, needing to just control your emotions and make choices and decisions that can support your long-term well-being and not your short-term well-being. All right, and can help you hopefully feel more comfortable later on or eventually as you move on. Okay. Then we've also got Jupiter in a trine with Neptune. I've also been mentioning that for a while, really bringing an inner transformation beneath the surface that I think we're trying to work out, how to adjust our perspective emotionally to meet the demands of a new life that I think has been a little bit of a rocky time of us the past few weeks, trying to figure out what are the right emotional responses, what do I really feel, how do I adjust emotionally. But I think all of these planets in Cancer are saying, okay, time to get a handle now on this inner transformation so that you can feel much better about it and get a handle on it and make the choices that you need to feel like you need to feel and to function in a better way. All right. Also, the last thing I'll mention, Neptune stationing, about to go retrograde next week, really asking you, I think, to think a little bit more seriously, to get a little bit more internal about what's really going on with you, about everything that's occurred lately, about how maybe you can do things better in your life, especially to bring more of that peace in emotionally. I do see that being a big thing in the chart. Neptune in a water sign stationing, a bunch of planets in Cancer. It really is, I think, all about emotions, getting those right, handling those so that you can do what needs to be done and figuring out what needs to change so that you can be okay emotionally and do what you need. All right, your card for the day is the Hierophant upright. Now this card, normally when I see the Hierophant, I normally see it as like an initiation. This card, being initiated into a group, into a way of thinking. Maybe this card has to do with the fact that we have overgone a major change since the beginning of this year. Lots of things changed in our life. And I think this card is saying it's time to initiate yourself, baptize yourself into this new life. The rite of passage, it's here. Whatever that means to you. It's time to really enter this new life and to accept where your life is now and to get on board with it and to be okay with it and to do what needs to be done. Sometimes this card too, I do see it as like some rite of passage, normally can be a good thing to help you move forward. Or sometimes too, the Hierophant, maybe you need the help of another person. A lot of times the Hierophant is like an older person who's been where you've been. But perhaps if you feel like it's hard for you to step into this new life, this new chapter, new circumstances, then maybe it wouldn't hurt as well if you wanted some advice to seek out the help of someone else who does what you want, who has what you're moving into, to get their advice, their feedback, so that they can help shepherd you through this process, okay? But I definitely see this card being all about leaving an old thing behind, leaving an old group, leaving old dreams. And it's really time to just say goodbye and to baptize yourself in all this water that we're getting, this grand water trine, to baptize yourself into your new life here. What is it? Yeah, and to really just not be afraid to let yourself go into what you're being called to and to transform yourself, to embrace it emotionally, what's coming. All right, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching my horoscope. If you like it, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you later.